Okay everyone, welcome to a new kind of thing on the channel. I'm going to start reviewing comic books because I've talked about it before 100 times on this channel. I love comic books, and yeah, I just thought I'd also start reviewing comic books on the channel. Today marks the very first issue of Bring on the Bad Guys. It's a Marvel one-shot exclusive per villain in the Marvel Universe. The reason why I really wanted to pick this up today, February 2nd, 2025, was because I love the Green Goblin. I think anybody that loves Spider-Man or the Spider-Man wheelhouse of villains loves the Green Goblin. It's a very key character in the Spider-Man lore and universe. Everyone knows everything that happened with Gwen Stacy, so I mean, well, most people do. But yeah, so a very first video of me reviewing a comic book, more to come in the future, more crossovers, I was gonna say, more than anything else. But yeah, Bring on the Bad Guys, the Green Goblin, issue 1. So initially, the reason why I picked this up was because the build-up for this, what I was reading about in forums, was that this was going to be like a new telling, or maybe a darker type story for the Green Goblin that we've ever seen before. Right away, what can I say? If you like the Green Goblin and you like Spider-Man villains, it's a pickup. It's not expensive or anything. It's like $5. Go get it. They're going to make a whole line of different characters. I plan to get every issue because I want to know what's going to go on in like the main storyline. But so if you did read this, or you aren't going to pick it up and you just want to hear my thoughts on the issue, it's good. It's a good, solid Green Goblin issue. What I will say is that if you're in the know of like Spider-Man villains, especially the Green Goblin, there's not a whole lot here that you're not already gonna know, or like you've never seen before. The main change in Norman Osborn's story here is we almost take a very weird turn. It almost becomes like The Omen in a way. And if you know what I mean, then you know that Mephisto's involved in this storyline. I think Mephisto is probably going to be involved in every one of these storylines at this point. If you didn't know, Mephisto is like a trickster demon in the Marvel universe. And the way the story begins, Norman makes a deal with Mephisto, and basically for like wealth and power, but also to sacrifice his son's soul. So obviously, if you know your Spider-Man lore, it's very apparent that they're trying to set up that like Harry Osborn is going to become either Green Goblin 2 or Hobgoblin. Depends on which way they want to go with it. So the story progresses like the beginning of the comic book takes place like years before, and then starts years after he makes a deal with Mephisto, and Oscorp is like booming, you know. They're like competitors with fucking Tony Stark, but yet not like as good. And all the while, Norman Osborn sitting here in these board meetings that you're watching him have to partake in, he seems distracted, away, not paying attention to what anyone's saying around him. And as the comic panel progresses, you're seeing Norman's journal. And it looks very much like something out of The Shining, when Jack Nicholson's paper, or his book, is found by Wendy, it says Green Goblin wants to come out and play, like, over and over and over and over again. And Norman's just kind of like not listening. He's listening to the voice in his head, which is the Goblin, and he's also hearing Mephisto in his head. Fast forward after the meeting, Norman's like in his home, and he's talking to himself as he's carving a fucking pumpkin bomb, and Mephisto starts talking to him, thinking like, it's cute that you talk to yourself when you're by yourself, or whatever. Or you think it's funny, or it's kind of funny you always talk to yourself when you're by yourself. And Mephisto reminds him of the deal about how he needs to kill somebody and whatever, and asks him, have you ever killed anybody before? And Norman thinks because his business has like destroyed a bunch of people's lives, that's like considered like killing people. And Mephisto is like, Norman also brings up that he killed his like family dog when he was a kid or something like that. And Mephisto thinks that, like, he says to Norman that he thinks it's funny that that's even equivalent, or it's cute that he thinks that's even an equivalency of what he's asking for. And then just like very much in the vein of like old Norman Green Goblin books, all the way up to like the Spiderman first movie with Tobey Maguire.
Back to formula.
Norman just talks to himself, puts on the fucking costume. That looks way better, by the way, in comic book form. And goes to a person's house that works for him, I forgot the guy's name, just to kill him because Mephisto wants him specifically. I don't know, I think it's just because this dude's like a really good dude. He's like a family man, cares about his wife, cares about his kids. And what I thought was really funny about when Norman's stalking this guy and his family while he's talking, they're all talking about like, the kids are all excited he's home, and they wanna play pretend like they're the Fantastic Four, and just like the dialogue between the family in the house is like endearing. You're like, okay, I can buy this. This seems like a real down to earth, like normal family. But the weird thing is Norman as the Green Goblin is watching this take place, he's like ready to pull out a pumpkin bomb and just blow them all the fuck up. But I think what happens is Norman's humanity gets touched in a way when he sees his kids talking to him about wanting to play Fantastic Four. And then he puts the pumpkin bomb away and then pulls out the fucking dagger, like the sacrificial dagger that Mephisto gave him. And he still goes in, grabs the guy, kills him. He does that. So that guy's aced. And then Norman is back at home, or back in a board meeting, still not listening to anything that's going on. He's just like replaying the events in his mind. And goes back home, and he's talking to himself and laughing about the events that just happened in the mirror, talking about how he's tried to like hide the identity of him wanting to be the Goblin the whole time. Just for like probably the best scene of the comic book. I think it's like really, really cool. Norman proceeds to start ripping his own fucking face off. Like literally tear his fucking skin off. Like when the Joker cut his fucking face off that one time. Rips his fucking face off. And the Goblin's there. And the Goblin was like, I was here the whole time. And then that's the end of the issue. So overall, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it a solid 7. I would say 7's pretty fair. Solid 7. The only reason why I say that is because the only thing that we really saw changed in this book, even though I like it, is the only thing that's different is Norman making a deal with Mephisto. We don't know what Mephisto's like grand plan is. There's not a whole lot of dialogue between Mephisto and Norman and like what the end goal could possibly be. Like, we have no idea. And then everything else is basically what we've always known as, like, if you've read Spider-Man comic books or you know anything about Norman Osborn and the Green Goblin, I mean, it's basically a retelling of the Green Goblin story, just nothing to do with Spider-Man, which is kind of funny because the comic book issue cover, as you can tell, you know, there's Spider-Man's hand right there. Spider-Man is nowhere to be seen. Peter Parker is nowhere to be mentioned in this book. So, I don't know, a little deceiving, but very, very cool cover. I'm glad I only bought this one. This is a 4 variant cover issue. All the covers are cool. Like, this one I think is like the most modern and kind of like scary looking. The other 3 seemed more, like one was like very classic Green Goblin, like very old comic book Green Goblin. One was like more 90s cartoon looking Green Goblin, and another one was a variant cover for the back issue that's like in this comic book that also ties into Mephisto, that's not a part of the story currently as of yet. So yeah, I think it's a solid 7 though. And I'm not trying to be harsh or anything. I just think we all know Norman Osborn's story. We know what the Green Goblin is. We know Mephisto is a fucking giant shithead. And if he's involved with anything, it's probably never gonna be good. Just like the one time Spider-Man cut a deal with Mephisto, and it fucking like felt like the biggest betrayal in fucking history. But whatever. Besides the Jackal, like fuck all that. Yeah, but I was just excited to pick this up today. It was a good read. Yeah. So very first comic book issue episode. I don't know what to call this series. We have VHS or Die, Retro or Die. I might as well just call this Comics or Die at this point. But yeah, first episode, bring on the bad guys, Green Goblin. I think I'm obviously going to get the next issue whenever the next one comes out. I think the next one's The Abomination, which is a Hulk. Well, I mean, Abomination goes through many different characters, but I want to say Abomination is more of a Hulk bad guy than anything else, I believe. It's been a while since I've read the Hulk, but yeah, I'm pretty sure the Abomination's a Hulk villain, mostly. We'll talk about that, but in the next issue, I think we're gonna go more 4-piece episode, or 4-piece comic book of crossover, because crossovers are like one of my favorite things that happen, and obviously darker and horror related. So we'll go on that, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Very first comic book review episode. Yeah. Later.